banks can tell the difference in it.
Someone is passing fake $100 bills in Whitley County, the sheriff himself being a victim.
Days after Trinity Gay's tragic death, community members are fighting to end the gun violence in Lexington, what one church is doing to unite the city.
A bizarre series of events leads to the tragic death of a Fort Campbell soldier.
Went out the front door, went into the street.
How a mistake ended with him losing his life.
This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening to you. Businesses in southern Kentucky are being warned, be careful taking large bills from customers. The warning comes after several businesses took in fake $100 bills.
And the phony money passes a simple counterfeit test. It looks so real that even the sheriff's office was fooled. WKYT's Phil Pendleton shows us how to avoid falling victim. It's our top story at 5:30.
Clerks in the Whitley County Sheriff's Department are checking their money more carefully these days. This after some cash used to pay property taxes turned out to be fake.
Sent to the bank, and the bank was the one that detected it, that it was counterfeit.
The normal checks and balances of counterfeit cash didn't work this time. Sheriff Colin Harrell says he doesn't understand why.
This particular bill showed up as good.
This is a counterfeit detection pin. It actually says counterfeit detection pin on here. When you mark a piece of paper, it looks like it's brown. So that would be brown on a fake bill as well. But when you mark the bill, it actually shows up yellow, showing that the bill is legitimate, when actually this bill here is not. The sheriff says 5 fake $100 bills were passed in Williamsburg and Corbin. Despite the marker test not working, Harrell says the bills still don't feel right and they're overly faded in places.
The Franklin is kind of washed out. I'm not saying that all of them will show this.
Harrell says all bills in his office are now run through a special money counter that show in red EE2 if the bills are fake. Sheriff says he'll be in contact with the Secret Service over the matter. In Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
And police say the sheriff's office and several dollar stores in Williamsburg and Corbin received the fake $100 bills.
They want the violence to stop. Days after the 15-year-old daughter of Olympian Tyson Gay was shot and killed, the community is pushing to end the gun violence here. Trinity Gay was caught in the crossfire of 2 vehicles shooting at each other in the parking lot of Cookout, a restaurant on South Broadway. WKYT Sean Moody is talking to leaders of a nearby church who are planning to march down that street.
That church is just a short walk down the sidewalk from the Cookout here where Trinity Gay was shot and killed. On Thursday night, those church members will march past here on their way to Triangle Park to pray for peace. Willie Watson is one of the pastors at Higher Praise International Deliverance Temple on South Broadway. Watson said he knew Trinity Gay through track and field. When he heard about what happened to her over the weekend, he said it hit hard. He said he's known several people who have become victims of violence over the years, and he wants people to live in peace together. That's the idea behind this march he's planning for Thursday night. He said it started for Trinity, but it's really about anyone who's been touched by violence.
So we want everybody in the street that's driving down, they will see us holding signs and pictures and shirts, all of it. I want them to see it all so they can know what's going on within the world and how bad it's hurting everybody.
If you'd like to get involved with that march, you can meet at the church before 6 o'clock on Thursday night. It's at 1093 South Broadway. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Watson encourages anyone who comes out to make signs promoting peace.
The sheriff is calling a series of events that led to a Fort Campbell soldier's death bizarre. Investigators say the 21-year-old was under the influence after a party. They say he was confused and broke into a landscaping company in Pleasant View and put his hand in a wasp nest. From there, the Cheatham County Sheriff says the man ran into the road and was hit by a car. The owner of the landscaping company says they returned to find their business a mess.
He unlocked the front door, went out the front door, went into the street, and was hit by a vehicle. And that was it, which is just really sad. It was sad that that had to happen.
According to a detective, the soldier made a call to his girlfriend to tell her he had become stuck under a shelf that he had knocked over inside the nursery.
An Elizabethtown man is facing misdemeanor charges after police say he used bug killer and a belt to torture pets. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Hardin County. A Louisville TV station reports 28-year-old Jaron Lockridge was arrested Sunday on animal cruelty charges. An arrest citation for Lockridge says he sprayed bug killer on his roommate's dog's food. The dog got sick, and police say it's still having trouble eating. The citation goes on to say that Lockridge wrapped a belt around his roommate's cat's neck, choking it. Police say Lockridge also sprayed bug killer in his roommate's fish tank, killing fish, lobster, and an eel. In LaRue County, a high school principal facing child porn charges has been fired. Kyle Goodlett was arrested last week after an undercover investigation. The assistant principal at LaRue County High School will fill in until the superintendent and school board decide the next step. Goodlett had been the principal there since 2013. And in Morgan County, a grand jury will hear the case of a woman charged with murder. Teresa Haney was arraigned this morning. In August, state police say Haney's SUV crossed the center line of Highway 7 and hit a motorcycle. Two people on the motorcycle, Thomas Tufts and Janet Caskey, died from their injuries. Haney faces 2 counts of murder. Court workers say probable cause was found in the case and it was sent to the grand jury.
It's mid-October. You wouldn't know it. Another unusually warm day in the bluegrass, so get out and enjoy it, even tonight. But changes are moving in. Let's check in now with our chief meteorologist, Chris Bailey. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Sam. Indeed, those changes will arrive in earnest as we get deeper into the week. But as you mentioned, it is absolutely summer-like in most of central and eastern Kentucky. 80 to 85, mix of sun and a little bit of cloud cover into especially the bluegrass region, points to the north. We look at those 4 live sky cams, and the farther east you go, the more in the way of just beautiful blue skies. Everybody this afternoon, 80 to 85 degrees. That's a normal high for July into Kentucky. How about that? All right, things are changing, though. Defender radar network with some clouds increasing from the northwest, and you already now beginning to see, at least on the radar here, a little isolated shower thunderstorm trying to crank around the Indy area. That's a sign of things to come. Whatever's up there, isolated stuff will begin to develop and then work toward the south and southeast, arriving into central and eastern Kentucky as we go into late tonight, and that'll hang around into part of the day on Wednesday. But the big change is waiting for Thursday. We'll talk about the big temperature drop and the beneficial rains that will likely accompany that when I get back in about 10.
Attorney General Andy Beshear has issued a scam alert warning Kentuckians to watch out for fake charity scams related to Hurricane Matthew. The AG's office says that scammers are trying to make money off the relief and restoration efforts. Some con artists are using bogus names or pretending to be real charities to collect the money they say will go to storm victims. The Attorney General says the best way to avoid a bogus charity scam is to verify the organization before you donate.
The city of Lexington is working on a master plan to figure out how to improve the parks in the city. City leaders are asking for input from the community. They've started a website for people to leave messages and suggestions about what they would like to see in Lexington's parks. The master plan will provide a direction for the next 10 years for the Parks and Recreation Division. Transylvania University is getting ready to celebrate a very popular Halloween tradition here in Lexington. The 6th annual Pumpkin Mania will be next Tuesday. Everyone in the community is invited to come out. From 6 to 7 p.m. there will be trick-or-treating, and at 7, hundreds of jack-o'-lanterns will be lit up on the steps of Old Morrison off West 3rd Street.
One of television's most successful game shows is a big hit here on WKYT. Our good question tonight is on Jeopardy! Peggy says, where can I watch Jeopardy on Thursdays? No interest in football. Is it on another station, or has it been moved to another time? Jeopardy! Is a huge hit with our viewers here on WKYT. It's been that way for decades. Merv Griffin created Jeopardy! Debuting on March 30th all the way back in 1964. It was a daytime show at that time. Now, the current nightly show began in 1984. And because of football, this Thursday, you can catch it at 10:30 p.m. on the CW Lexington. Then next week, good news for Jeopardy! Fans, it goes back to its normal schedule at 7:30 here on WKYT. Thanks, Peggy, for the good question. To submit a good question, send an email to goodquestion@wkyt.com.
Still ahead on WKYT News at 5:30, dozens of applicants, but only a few jobs. How leaders in southern Kentucky are trying to put laid-off coal workers back to work.
I'm Bill Bryant. A congressman urges Governor Matt Bevin to withdraw his request to make Medicaid changes. Both presidential candidates could face some tough questions in their final debate tomorrow. The bottom line is ahead.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
The night before the final debate, voter fraud becoming a big topic in the race for the White House.
And state Republicans are using Hillary Clinton against their opponents as they try to take control of the Capitol. Bill Bryant has the details in the bottom line.
Good evening. The election is 3 weeks from today, which will cap a dramatic campaign in America. Today, the State Board of Elections met in Frankfort to be sure that everything is in order for Kentucky's polling places. Potential voter fraud is likely to come up tomorrow at the final presidential debate of 2016. Without presenting evidence, Donald Trump insists that the potential for wrongdoing at the polls poses a significant threat in the election. He even pushed back at some Republicans who dismissed the concern by telling them not to be naive. Another topic likely on the agenda for debate is Hillary Clinton's emails. Records show an aide to the former Secretary of State asked the FBI to reduce the classification of an email. Trump has called that collusion and a miscarriage of justice. On the eve of the debate, Clinton continues to lead in national polls. Republicans are trying to use Clinton against some of the candidates running for the state house in Kentucky as a bitter battle for control of the chamber races toward the election. A new ad targets Democrat Charles Tackett of Scott County, who took the seat away from the GOP when he won a special election earlier this year. Tackett is in a rematch on November 8th with Republican challenger Philip Pratt. The dean of Kentucky's congressional delegation is Republican Hal Rogers, who is unopposed for re-election in the 5th District. He has represented eastern and southern Kentucky since being elected in 1980. But federal election filings indicate Rogers, even though he has no challenger, has raised more than $1 million for this cycle. Bluegrass Politics tweeted today that Rogers raised $222,000 in the third quarter that ended September 30th. Congressman John Yarmouth, a Democrat from Louisville, today urged Republican Governor Matt Bevin to withdraw his request for a federal waiver for Medicaid. Bevin wants to make changes to the Medicaid expansion put in place by former Governor Steve Beshear. Bevin says Kentucky can't afford the plan without some changes. Yarmouth predicts the federal government will not approve the waiver request. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
The Kentucky Career Center was packed today with applying and people hoping to get a job.
Many of those people coming from across the state to Hazard today for FedEx's job fair. There's only a few positions open, but that did not stop people from coming out. By lunchtime, nearly 80 people had applied. The Career Center said they expected dozens more people to apply this afternoon.
With a lot of folks ordering things online and teleworking from home in our region right now, we have a lot of people placing orders, and they have to have those drivers and package handlers to get those packages delivered to the residents.
Now, if you did not get out to the Career Center, you can still apply on FedEx's website.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Well, it's summer again across the Bluegrass State. Calendar says something different, and the weather is eventually going to say something different. Just got to be a little patient. We look outside 9 live sky cams, and we're noticing more clouds. Look at Florence, completely overcast now, versus Bowling Green, Corbin, Jackson, Moorhead, more sunshine, more clouds now into Louisville, and those clouds are going to continue to filter in from north to south. 80 to 85 this afternoon, as expected, into much of central and eastern Kentucky. And underneath those clouds now, starting to see maybe a little sprinkle trying to pop here north of the Cincy area, not too far away from Kings Island. That is where we have cold front number 1. It's bumping up against this warm air that is surging in here out of the Gulf of Mexico. Cooler air, chilly air, and then downright cold stuff coming in behind that right on top of the Canadian border. 3-day forecast. Can't rule out a shower thunderstorm tomorrow. Winds are gusty Thursday. Rain, thunder, lightning, gusty winds, falling temperatures. You got all that? That's the cold front, and that's the big change. Friday, showers in the morning, gusty winds, and it's a much colder afternoon, even as we break out into a partly sunny sky. So second half of tomorrow, we're going to get this front in the Mississippi Valley. Thursday front is rolling across Kentucky. You're going to hear that front because the winds may approach 35 to 40 miles per hour again Thursday into Thursday night as that front zips its way on through here. Then the showers get on out of town second half of Friday. Friday night into Saturday looking good, just going to feel awfully cold across most of central and eastern Kentucky. So you get the gusty showers, a rumble or two of thunder. That cold front makes its way through. That unleashes the coldest air of the season. How much rain can you get? We need it. It's been a very dry fall so far after one of the wettest summers on record into the bluegrass state, at least parts of it. 1/2 to 1 inch of rain on this forecast model between tonight's stuff all the way through the day on Friday. Higher amounts farther north that we go. Watch the winds. We go through tonight and into tomorrow. We know it's been gusty today. It'll be gusty again tomorrow, even without a thunderstorm. We go into Thursday. We could see those gusts greater than 30 miles per hour at times, and the winds will kind of rattle the window pane all the way through the day on Friday, and that will be a cold wind that is blowing. I'll tell you right now, if you're going to get some 25 to 30 mile per hour gusts as we go into Friday evening with temperatures dropping into the 40s, high school football fans, the hot chocolate stands are going to be hopping as we go into Friday evening. A lot of boosters love those hot chocolate stands this time of year, don't they? I think you can put those to good use Friday night, maybe Saturday evening too out at Commonwealth Stadium. Guys, how about the three of us? All right, supplemental income. We open up a little hot chocolate stand out for tailgating at Commonwealth Stadium.
I like your thinking.
Yeah. UK may not like that, but hey, why not?
We'll blame it on you, buddy. Thank you.
All right.
Well, the collision on the inner loop of Man-O-War at Sir Barton has been cleared, so that intersection is back open, no issues there. Drive times to Versailles about 12 minutes. To Paris, we're averaging 20 right now, and 23 minutes to Winchester. Now back to you in the studio.
Just ahead, another honor for a Wildcat freshman, Rob.
Well, that's right. And again, it's one of the newcomers in John Calipari's backcourt. And if quarterback Steven Johnson goes down with an injury, how confident is Mark Stoops with his backup? Still 6 games to go in the season. That's next on WKYT. Kentucky needs a backup to quarterback Steven Johnson, and that man is true freshman Gunnar Hoke. Mark Stoops saying yesterday he's comfortable if Johnson finishes out the season, but he's also comfortable with Hoke. And if he goes in, that means the red shirt goes off. Better than halfway through the season.
We have his blessing and blessing of his family. They know very clearly they're all for it. His father was a football player and understands it and is all for it. So if we feel the need to play him, then he's going to play. And if Steven goes down, he's going in. He looks good. He looks really good. I really do. We're very impressed. He's getting better and better with every snap. He seems very poised. But I think it's fair to say that always at that position, you know, you have to get him in a game and see how they function out there. And so he shows everything that you want in a quarterback.
Mississippi State coming into Commonwealth Stadium Saturday. You can watch it live on the SEC network beginning at 7:30. Despite a second-half comeback, EKU dropped its second conference game over the weekend down at Tennessee State. The Colonels found themselves in an early hole down 35-3 at the half. EKU responded by scoring 25 unanswered points in the second half before falling 35-28. The team says it needs to focus on playing a full 60 minutes of football.
I feel like we put a good film on how great we can be in the second half, so we can just get that going for all 4 quarters and we can have a W.
In almost every game, 5 of the games, you could segment, you could take a clip of 15, 20, 30 minutes of football and say, this is good ball. But you need 60. That's what's on the scoreboard, 60 minutes, so we need 60.
And yesterday it was De'Aaron Fox. Today, Malik Monk named to a national watch list for the upcoming season. Monk has been added to the Jerry West Award watch list. That is given annually to the nation's best shooting guard. Monk said he came to Kentucky to be the best.
Being the best, I mean, is everything, I think. Because, like, playing basketball, you want to be one of the best players out there. And if you're not, like, I don't think there's no point in playing if you're not trying to be the best, because you're just wasting time and wasting everybody else's time. So.
And coming up Friday, the annual Blue-White game, Rupp Arena, 7 o'clock. That will be televised on the SEC network. Much more coming up in the next half hour. Stay with us here on WKYT.